At this point I realized that I was heading for disaster and immediately retightened the bolt I just had been unscrewing. Hello everybody, this is day 30 of my S-type rebuild. Time to take down the cylinder heads and see what's underneath. The official workshop manual refers to poly drive head bolts, so I was really surprised to discover ordinary hex bolts, 12 on each side. The two short bolts at the front require a 10mm, the 10 longer ones a 13mm socket. The untightening sequence surprised me as well, since it exactly matches the sequence when reinstalling the cylinder heads, with exception of the two small bolts. I had expected the tightening and untightening sequences to be contrary to each other. Consequently, to be on the safe side and prevent any warping, I unscrewed the bolts evenly and in stages. This wasn't torqued down at all, I think. To eliminate the potential risk of the cylinder head dropping down, I decided to first get it into a more horizontal position, and after having removed the final bolt, it was now up to taking the head off. And what about the condition of the cylinder walls? Well, my car already came with cast iron liners that had replaced the Nicocil coating of earlier engines, so there was nothing to really worry about. Of course, the carbon mixed with WD-40 I had sprayed into the combustion chambers, but besides that, everything looks fine, and even the honing marks are still visible for the most part. The untightening sequence on the right hand side is similar, with the exception that here I should always start with the upper instead of the lower bolts. This makes no sense for me, and obviously it simply doesn't matter. And that's how the combustion chambers looked like on passenger side before and after I had removed all the dirt with brake cleaner. Now I had to unbolt the flex plate. The problem was that there is no way to counterhold the crankshaft besides grabbing one of the other bolts with a second wrench or ratchet. When only 2 bolts are left, this results in tightening the one bolt while untightening the other, but somehow I got the job done. By the way, there's an alignment pin on the crankshaft that fits into a hole, so no need to mark the flex plate's orientation. To finally remove the plate, it was still necessary to rotate one of the engine mount's arms out of the way, and meanwhile the block had to be secured with my engine hoist. At this point I realized that I was heading for disaster and immediately retightened the bolt I just had been unscrewing. I give you 10 seconds to guess what the issue was. Okay. 2 mounting arms of my engine stand were bolted to this upper oil pan that isn't just a cover but an integral component of the engine block. Fully detaching the pan would have resulted in the block dropping down and the remaining alloy mountings getting destroyed, equaling a total loss. To save the day, I now had to relocate the 2 mounting arms, which required fully detaching the mounting plate and rotating it from a vertical into a horizontal position. Therefore, the engine block again had to be connected to my engine hoist, and since the cylinder heads with the lifting brackets were already removed, it was necessary to improvise some kind of another attachment. After having fixed the mounting issue, which took me around an hour, I could now continue with unscrewing the oil pan. Lifting off this pan seemed to be a hard piece of work. I first failed with a screwdriver, a hammer, a Stanley knife and even my beloved little metal plate, until I came to a final conclusion. I'm a big idiot. Wow. That's it again for today. Next time I will complete the disassembly of this engine by removing the pistons and the crankshaft. Be sure not to miss that. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe even subscribe to my channel. See you back next time. Goodbye.